Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Code Red Cheese Spread. That's right, I'm going to show you how to make this dangerously spicy party snack for two very good reasons. First, it's easy to make and tastes amazing. But second, and much more importantly, I was tagged by Andrew at Binging with Babish to participate in his hot pepper challenge for ALS. Although unlike him, I'm not going to be able to eat a habanero and ghost pepper live on camera. Don't worry, I have a doctor's note. But anyway, we're still going to hopefully raise some funds with this spread, and I will give you more info as we proceed. But for now, let's just go ahead and get started with the base of this spread, which is a lot of cream cheese. And for me, 3 different kinds. Okay, the first would be a very creamy French cream cheese called Fromage Blanc. I also have some fairly fancy cream cheese, which is sort of dry and crumbly. And then my third variety would be your basic standard, comes in a square, rectangular foil package cream cheese from a certain East Coast city, where people like to say yo. And even though I'm using an array of different cream cheeses, you could do this with any one of them or any combination, as long as you have about 2 pounds total. And then to that, for a little bit of acidity, we will add a small splash of apple cider vinegar, or the vinegar of your choice. We will also add a little touch of tomato paste for both acidity and color. We will also splash in a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, as well as some onion and garlic powder, not to be confused with onion salt and garlic salt. This is just pure dried powdered onion and garlic. And that's going to conclude the non-pepper portion of this program. And before we get to our dried peppers, we will add some wet, in the form of sriracha, which is never not beautiful. And yes, that is a lot, but not too much. And then next up, we're going to add the first of our 2 kinds of paprika, this being what we call in the business sweet paprika, which simply means it's not spicy. And then we're also going to add in a whole bunch of smoked paprika, which comes both mild and spicy. And I'm definitely using a spicy one here. And not only does that add heat, but also a beautiful smokiness, which is why I like to refer to that as the bacon of spices. But anyway, we'll continue on with some chipotle, which is also a little smoky and very spicy. And then last but never least, we will add a nice big spoon of cayenne. And that's going to be it for now. At this point, we'll take a sturdy wooden spoon and mix this thoroughly and thoughtfully until it's fully combined, and we cannot see any streaks of cream cheese. And by the way, as usual, I will include all these amounts in the blog post. But if there was ever a time you were going to adjust things to your tastes, this would be one of them. Alright, I'm intentionally making this painfully spicy, but you may not want yours that hot. Or you may want to push it even further, risking possible legal action by one of your guests. Who knows? So please feel free to adjust all these amounts to your liking. You are, after all, the Judge Dredd of this fundraising spread. But anyway, we will go ahead and mix that very, very, very well. And once mixed, it is theoretically ready to serve, but I do not recommend it. Okay, I don't know that much about the laws of the universe, but I do know this. Wet things want to get dry, and dry things want to get wet. So what I'm going to do once this is mixed, and I've cleaned up that bowl with a spatula, is I'm going to wrap it up and pop it in the fridge overnight, or at the very least for a few hours. And that's going to give it time for all those dried chili peppers to rehydrate and fully develop all those beautiful flavors. And yes, of course you could taste it at this point. And I did, and it was delicious and incredibly spicy. But I'm going to do my final seasoning adjustments the next day. So I wrapped that up and popped it in the fridge. And then the next morning pulled it out and unwrapped it and gave it a taste to evaluate. And I think we should do that twice. Once plain just off our finger to taste it as is, and then a second time on whatever we're going to serve this with. Which for me are these long, thin, fancy flatbreads. Which, by the way, we could make ourselves, but won't. So I gave that a taste and found it to be absolutely delicious and incredibly spicy, but decided it did need a touch of salt, as well as I decided to make it even spicier. Mostly because I found an old bottle of ghost pepper sauce in the back of my fridge. And since this is a hot pepper challenge after all, I decided to splash in a stupid amount of that, and then gave this a final mix. And yes, I do feel a little bit bad I'm not going to chomp through like 3 ghost peppers on camera. But as you know, I don't show myself. And also my medical team advised against it. They said it's okay to kill myself with food, but they recommend I do it gradually, over a long period of time. But anyway, I mixed that in and gave it a final taste, and deemed it painfully perfect. And once we're happy with that, we'll go ahead and transfer it into a serving bowl. And add some kind of decorative swirls on top, as well as one last shake of cayenne, just to stay in shape. And that's it. What I'm calling Code Red cheese spread is done. And then to warn my guests that this really is truly a Code Red, possibly dangerous spread, I surrounded the bowl with some red warning lights. Although they only look good with the shade drawn, and it would have been too dark to film me tasting this. So I raised the shade and took them away. Plus they did look sort of dumb. But anyway, I went in for the official taste. And while relatively painful to eat, it's also incredibly tasty and absolutely addictive. Okay, if you've done this properly, your guests will complain this is too hot, but they won't be able to stop eating it. All right, that is the ideal scenario. And because we've used a cream cheese base, and dairy tends to cool the burn, when you take a bite, it starts off slowly, and then builds and builds until you think it's too hot. And then right before you start to panic, it fades. And to me, that's really the magic behind this recipe. Plus, as far as making a homemade party snack, it doesn't get much easier than this. So I do hope you try this out. Which reminds me, I have to tag 3 others for the Hot Pepper Challenge, which will be the entire crew from Everyday Food. Yes, all of them. Sarah, Thomas, Shira, and Lindsay, as well as Hyla from Hyla Cooking, since she made me do a podcast. And then my third challenge goes to Byron Talbot, because he seems so cool, I want to see if he actually sweats. So that's who I'm tagging for the Hot Pepper Challenge for ALS. And hopefully they'll join in, along with all of you, of course, to help raise a little bit of money for this very worthy cause. So thank you to Andrew for this challenge, and I will add all the links and pertinent info in the description. And above and beyond all that, I really do hope you give this Code Red cheese spread a try soon. So head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.